Good afternoon, everyone, and can I welcome us all along to the Education Communities Committee. This is the Education Committee side of it. This meeting has been held remotely and also in person and will be filmed and recorded for live and subsequent broadcast available through the Council's website. The Council is a data controller under the General Data Protection Regulations and Data Protection Act 2018. We broadcast and record Council meetings to fulfil our public task obligation to enable members of the public to observe the democratic process. Data collected during the process will be retained in accordance with the Council's published policies available through the Council's website. Members of the Council are reminded that they should follow the Council's established meetings protocols, including around the use of the chat facility, and that comments made in the chat facility are visible to all participants of the meeting, which may include members of the public who have received invites to the meeting. Now, that's the spiel I've got to say at the beginning of the meeting, and normally I get tongue-tied with it. So can I welcome us all along today? Can I especially welcome along our head teacher for St Mary's, and can I welcome along the senior pupils and staff from both St Columba's High School and Clyde-View. You're most welcome here. But I'll do the start of the meeting. I'll ask Diane to go for apologies and declarations of interest. Diane.
We have an apology for absence from Councillor Maguire, with Councillor Cassidy substituting, and Councillor Nelson. We also have an apology from Miss MacDonald, the parent representative. Convener will now move to an attendance roll call before proceeding to the declarations of interest. Can the following members please indicate if they're present at the meeting either in person or remotely? Councillor Armstrong. Present in the chamber. Councillor Brennan. Present in the chamber. Councillor Cassidy. Present in the chamber. Councillor Clockerty.
Present in the chamber.
Councillor Hellier.
Present in the chamber.
Councillor McVeigh.
In chamber.
Councillor Quinn.
Present remotely.
Councillor Reynolds.
Present remotely.
Councillor Robertson.
Present in the chamber.
Present remotely.
And Councillor Wilson.
Present remotely.
Reverend Burt.
Present in chamber.
Mr Docherty.
Present in chamber.
Reverend Donaldson. And Ms McEwen.
Present remotely.
Are there any declarations of interest?
I think we did have a few. Lynn, have you got your hand up?
Yeah, thanks. It's under agenda item 16. It's just to say that my son Matthew Quinn is a member of the Scottish Youth Parliament and he's also campaigned on this issue. So it's just to put that declaration on record. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Councillor Armstrong.
Thanks, Convener. I have to declare a connection, and I think amounts to a conflict in relation to item 13, review of transport for people with additional support needs. Although not mentioned in the report, the discussion and decisions may impact on IBCSS, and I am on board of IBCSS, so I don't feel that I can be part of the discussion or the decision, so I would accuse myself at that point. Thank you.
If you're sure, Pam, are you a council appointment onto the board?
Yes, I am.
If you feel as if you need to.
Yes,
yeah.
I feel I can.
Okay, thank you for that. And with those, can we move along to the agenda? Can I firstly ask Michael to introduce the first agenda item, which is the Scottish Credit and Qualifications Framework?
So through you, Chair, it's a real privilege to involve our young people this afternoon in this presentation about the SCQF framework. Those of you that have read line by line the service improvement plan will know that this is a key action regarding the senior fees and securing positive and sustained destinations. And our ambition is that all of our secondary schools will have achieved the accreditation that links to the framework. St Columbus have already achieved gold status, and Clyde are silver winners working towards their gold. And part of the programme is that the young people themselves are ambassadors for this framework, leading on change within their schools in around the curriculum and the pathways that are on offer. I don't intend to say much more because I'm going to start stealing their presentation, but I know that this will help. This is evidence that they will file to sustain gold and achieve it. So without further ado, I invite them to take the floor.
So good afternoon, I'm Michael Harkins, this is Holly Glancy, this is Caitlin Train, and we're all SCQF ambassadors from St Columbus High School. So last September we became a gold SCQF ambassador school, and we're here today to provide a summary of the framework and why we value it. You may recognise the letters, you may have seen them, possibly spotted about on exam certificates, but what do the letters actually stand for? So, as you can see, so SCQF stands for Scottish Credit and Qualifications Framework. And the SCQF helps to promote the quality of qualifications. So in the past, you might recognise yourselves that the only qualifications available were O grades, standard grades, hires and secondary studies. And now all of the SCQA courses and a whole range of other awards and vocational qualifications have SCQF credit points. And there are now so many more pathways than there used to be, and this is definitely a good thing.
National qualifications, hires and advanced hires all have SCQF levels. For example, National 5 is SCQF level 5, Hire is SCQF level 6 and Advanced Hire is SCQF level 7. There are lots of other qualifications that are not nationals or hires that are also levels 5, 6 and 7. We offer a whole range of courses in St Columbus from level 2 right through to level 7. These qualifications don't just develop learners' knowledge and understanding, but also skills. SCQF credit points show how much learning is involved in achieving each qualification. One SCQF credit point is roughly equivalent to 10 hours of learning, and SCQF levels and credit on all SCQA certificates. Some other learning programs that you may undertake at school, college, or clubs could have an SCQF level and credit points associated with it. For example, Duke of Edinburgh, the Saltire Award, and the Caritas Award. In St Columbus High School, we have an increasing number of wider achievement opportunities available that are on the SCQF. For example, Level 5 or Level 6 awards and National Progression Awards. We have increased the number of wider achievements greatly over the last few years and hope to continue to add to the range of pathways available. All of the courses available at college are also on the SCQF at different levels. You can see here that the SCQF credit points are awarded for different qualifications at different levels. For example, a National 4 carries 24 credit points at level 4, a Hire carries 24 credit points at level 6. A National Progression Award, also known as an NPA, can carry a range of credit points. For example, NPA Photography carries 24 credit points at level 5, and the Creative Thinking Award carries the same number of points as a Hire at level 6. These are just some examples of what's on offer in our stream. Here are just some of the new courses our school have introduced over the last few years. When we speak to parents at Options Information in the evening, they can't believe how different it is since they were at school. I'm sure you all agree. Reasons why we value the SCQF. The SCQF helps to embed a culture of ambition, which is also one of our school values. It recognises and gives credit for all achievements and not just formal qualifications gained in the exam hall. This ensures parity of esteem for all young people. It provides the opportunity for a wide range of flexible and alternative pathways and ensures that all young people have their learning and skills development formally recognised. We hope that you now have a clearer understanding of what the SCQF is. We're lucky to have so many varied pathways and opportunities available to us. We are also recognise it can also be a bit confusing, so that's where we come in. We're happy to answer any questions you may have, and if you would like to find out more, you can visit the SCQF website and explore the interactive framework. Thank you for listening. I'll now pass on to the SCQF Ambassadors of Clydeview Academy.
Thank you to the St Columbus pupils for now outlining the SCQF framework. My name is Catherine Moreland-Darragh, and along with Andrew Willer and Rafe Trailing, we will now demonstrate how the SCQF School Ambassador Programme operates successfully within Clydeview Academy.
So the SCQF Ambassador Programme was designed to help young people explore diverse learning pathways and qualifications, and also to provide an opportunity for people to develop their leadership skills as an ambassador.
In order to achieve accreditation for raising awareness of the SCQF with parents, pupils and staff, there are 5 key themes to be evidenced by schools. These are whole school approach, pupil awareness, parental understanding and engagement, learning pathways and development of external relationships. There is an opportunity to achieve bronze, silver and gold status. At Clyde Academy, we are currently going for gold.
As Catherine mentioned, there are 3 levels of recognition within the SCQF School Ambassador Programme. The criteria for achieving bronze, silver and gold can be seen on this slide. Please take a moment to look at some of the activities required.
So once you've had a read of that, this is a little bit about our Ambassador Programme here at Clydeview. So we launched our programme at Clydeview Academy in September 2022, and we recruit our ambassadors in 5th year, and they continue with their role into 6th year, and they help train up the future 5th years. We meet at the start of every session and look over the whole school calendar to identify events that the SCQF ambassadors can attend, support and present at. Our ambassadors sign up for their chosen events at the start of the year, and we communicate via the SCQF Ambassador Teams page and have regular meetings. To do with our training, all new ambassadors receive initial training about the SCQF. We run this as a student-led training with staff only there as support. Also, our SCQF staff members have also supported Port Glasgow High School.
At Clydeview Academy, we have been on our SCQF journey since September 2022, when we first launched the programme. Since then, our SCQF ambassadors and teaching staff have successfully met the criteria to achieve both silver and bronze and silver status. We are now going for gold.
The SCQF Ambassador Programme allows ambassadors the opportunity to lead and get involved with many events throughout the school calendar. The key role of the SCQF Ambassador is to raise awareness of the SCQF with fellow learners amongst parents and carers. We do this by presenting at key information evenings throughout the school year, for example, option choice events, and running stalls at parents' evenings to distribute leaflets and raise awareness of qualifications and levels with parents and carers. We have also run events to encourage fellow pupils to take on this leadership role, for example at the S6 Leadership Fair.
So the ambassadors have various accreditation opportunities. So all SCQF ambassadors are encouraged to log volunteering hours to achieve the Saltire Award. Also, along with that, the SCQF ambassador duties can also lead to gain an SQA Leadership Award, which is also level 6.
Departments at Clydeview Academy have been committed to widening curricular pathways. We now have a wide range of National Progression Awards, NPAs and Skills for Work courses to complement our traditional course offers within the school. These include British Sign Language, Creative Thinking, Lab Skills and Barista Skills. These alternative qualifications complement the traditional courses offered by providing opportunities to gain skills for life learning and work.
Thank you for listening to our presentation on the SCQF framework and associated ambassador programme. Before we invite you to ask any questions you might have, we would like to share some of our own journeys with the wider achievement qualifications. I am Catherine and I undertook the Barista Skills qualification in S5, and I'm also currently undertaking the midwifery course at the Paisley College campus.
I'm Andrew and I'm currently in 6th year doing my arts leadership skills.
I'm Rafe and I'm currently studying psychology at West College, Scotland, along with school.
I'm Caitlin and I'm in 6th year, currently taking NPA Drama and Sports Leader. I'm Holly and I'm in 6th year and I'm currently undertaking Science Baccalaureate.
I'm Michael and I'm in 6th year and I'm currently doing Gold Duke of Edinburgh Language Leader Award, and I've already completed the Aviation Studies alone as well.
Okay, can I thank you very much? Can I ask the members to get a wee round of applause? What to admit, for those of us at a certain age, when our colleagues with Cliveview were saying they're going for gold, I just hear the song going for gold for the quiz programme. So I'll open up questions for anybody. Elizabeth, I've got you first.
Thank you. Thanks to all of you. That's amazing. It's fantastic to see the range of additional things that are happening. It's very, very different from when I was at school and I'm still part of the young team. So I'm not really it's phenomenal. It's absolutely amazing, and more power to you in terms of getting the message out there and being ambassadors for this in your own schools and helping other schools as well. A question that I've got, and it might be something that you guys have thought about and can answer, but if it has to be somewhere where I'll accept an answer from whomsoever. The work you're doing is so important, but I think other people that are really crucial in this are employers and colleges and universities, and making sure that they accept this much wider range of qualifications that young people can have as things that they will accept for people coming to go through their doors, so to start work, to go on to further or higher education. And I'd be quite interested to hear about that journey.
I'll ask who wants to take a stab at it.
Yeah, it's a really great point to share that the system goes all the way down from primary levels right up to a doctorate, and it is being way more widely recognised throughout the different academic levels. Universities look at it in apprenticeships, employers, as you said, and it's becoming a really, really important framework throughout whether you choose to do higher education or further employment after high school.
Okay. Do you have any other questions? Ian and then Francesca. Ian.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Thanks very much from all the students. I'm absolutely proud to say that I'm the Ward Councillor for both schools. I'm delighted you're here. Of course, other schools are available. No, it's absolutely great honour to listen to you. I'm really sort of interested in how you mentor your skills, how you bring that forward when you've got your sort of junior colleagues coming through the school.
I think it is really important that younger people in the school are aware of what we're doing, and so we do try and promote this at assemblies, and we also have information nights as well, which we do try and explain to them as well what it is and how we do it and how they can get involved, because it is, again, something when we come into it, we're a bit kind of unsure what everything means, as well as I'm sure some of you do as well. So I think it definitely is important. So we do try and make everyone as aware of it as possible, and to try and display what we're doing, the work we're taking out.
Francesca.
Thanks very much, Chair. So thanks so much for coming along to speak to us today. That's been such a helpful and informative presentation. That really appreciate that. I think I was really interested in the events that you mentioned, that you're looking out always for different events to speak at. And I know I recognise some of you and realise you're already doing lots of leadership and helping young people in our communities in different ways. But just wondering, what ones are the most useful, do you think, when you're speaking maybe at a parents' evening or to pupils in school or employers? What ones do you think get the best results?
I think possibly the most important meetings we go to is probably parents' information evenings that are along with the pupils themselves, because we run different stalls that are there for that are different opportunities. So they come and they're hands-on, they ask us questions, because we're now further up in the school, so we know a bit more, and we've been to different sort of our job experience, different things, work experience. So they come and they ask us different questions about what path they want to take, because obviously the traditional school route might not be for everybody. So you obviously got college or you're doing apprenticeships, so they come and ask us questions, and they can come and see, they ask employers, they come along as well. So it's a good opportunity for them to come and see what is available to them, and they might not know, because there's tons of things that I didn't know about when I first started, and now I'm much more aware of different pathways that I can go and pursue when I leave school.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much, that's great. Thank you.
Do you have any other members? No, it just falls for me to really thank you very much. We get committee papers in Michael and Ruth and Tony do their best to bring these committee papers to life when we're in these committees. But sometimes it's like you need to give them CPR to try and do that. And that's how we really are appreciative of when you come, because this is what this committee is meant to be doing. So we've got to remember who we're actually serving. So we're serving the pupils, we're serving the parents, we're serving the teachers and Inverclyde as well. So can I genuinely thank you very much for that. You're more than welcome to stay to, I think we're due to finish about 10 o'clock at night. But please feel free if you want to move out, but a genuine thanks very much. And I'll ask you again just to give a minute.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us. Thank you.
That was a fantastic presentation, you know, and I think it was really good to see what our pupils of Clydeview and St Clumbers are doing, and two schools very much linked to each other as well in the southwest area of Inverclyde. So it was really fantastic to see them here. But now we'll go on to one of the feeder schools, and I'll let Michael introduce the next bit of the paper.
He's actually not. He's to Notre Dame. But I actually could ask any of the schools to present, but both St Albans and Clydeview are further down their journey. So I'm delighted and proud to be able to present to you the Education Scotland Inspection Report for the Primary School. I'm not going to steal Mark's thunder because I've invited him along this afternoon to say a few words shortly. But the school was inspected a while ago now, with summer recess got in the way. He and I did all we could to see if we could control the publication before the summer, but it didn't happen. But it was worth waiting for, I'm sure that you will agree. So during the week beginning 20th April, a full inspection was carried out, and the report was then published on the 26th of August, with 5 key strengths of the work of the school noted, and a couple of areas to continue to work on, things that the school already had in their sights and are already working on. Particularly pleased throughout the strengths to note, first of all, the ethos and the approach, the culture of the school being recognised. Mark's own leadership 3 years into being the head teacher came out as a real strength, and that strategic leadership, you I'm sure having read it, probably noted throughout. And really what was most pleasing across the third and fourth bullet points were the work that the school has done over time to further develop the curriculum offer, the approach, the pedagogy that's being used to ensure a really relevant, stimulating curriculum for the future. And St Mary's has a long track record of ensuring that young people make very good progress in literacy and numeracy, and Mark has ensured that that has been sustained and improved, with high levels being noted across the school. There's more detail across the other sections of the report, particularly in point 4, but obviously at 4.2 you'll know the 6-point scale that's being used, and across the 4 indicators the school's evaluated very good, which absolutely was the self-evaluation of the school and the previous validation of our service of the school approximately 18 months ago through our review programme. So we're delighted that the self-evaluation was validated. As well as the 4 key QIs, the inspection also looks at safeguarding and protection. It also looks at curriculum, and it looks at partnerships with particular focus on parental engagement. Most quality indicators are not given a grading as such, but there's commentary, and again, if you look at the commentary there, you will note that there's some real strength there. And my final point is, it's rare, but it does happen, that areas of strong or best practice are identified through the inspection process. And this was the case for St Mary's, where the work that Mark has led since he became a teacher of the school around the curriculum has been identified as national practice for a of sharing, and I believe people have already been on the phone to speak to him about the approach that's been taken now that the report is in the public domain. So I am just couldn't be more proud having worked with Mark for 7 years now and watched him on his leadership journey and having the opportunity to see him into his headship to now be in a position where we have this report in front of us. And I send my congratulations again to Mark, his entire staff body, all pupils, I have to say, and parents of the school, because it is very much a report that reflects that wider community approach that Mark is leading. And I'll invite Mark now to say a few words.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with everyone today. As Michael said, an inspection followed on from an authority review. It was exactly a year and a day after the authority started the review in our school that the inspectors came. We felt the review was an ideal preparation for us and reinforced our plans for improvement at that time. We were graded the same by the authority, as Michael said, but we're even more confident leading into the HMI. As the develops that we agreed at the end of the review process, we felt it turned into real strengths by the time the inspection team arrived. The inspection report we have is a strong affirmation of the school's current direction. We're delighted and proud to be graded as very good in all 4 areas. And I'll just take you through a few highlights that picked out in the areas we had. So under leadership change, inspectors highlighted how successfully we've embedded our vision, values and aims across all aspects of school life. We're delighted that this has been recognised so strongly throughout the report. Our values of happiness, respect, kindness and ambition are not just words on the wall at St Mary's. They're lived experiences for our learners and staff. They're evident in the relationships across the school, in the learning environments and in the decision-making processes throughout our school. The inspection team also recognised the strength of our distributed and collaborative leadership approaches. Every member of staff across our school is important and valued. They actively seek opportunities to lead and we're confident in sharing their work with the inspection team. Our improvement planning is grounded in robust self-evaluation and our pupils are empowered to contribute meaningfully to the school's vision and improvement agenda. Staff and pupils at all levels take ownership of change in our school, leading to steady and sustainable progress. And this reflects in the culture of trust, shared responsibility and continuous learning that the team recognised. Under learning, teaching and assessment, our inspectors praised a consistent high quality of teaching across the school. Our classrooms are inclusive and nurturing with positive relationships at our core. Teachers use assessment to inform their planning and ensure that learning is well matched to individual needs. It's great to see the inspection team recognise what we know so well. St Mary's pupils are highly motivated and passionate about their learning. They saw pupils who are highly engaged, reflective and motivated to succeed in an environment where they feel safe to make mistakes. They can see the benefits of our approach to developing and understanding meta skills, and they also recognise the strength of our approach to play-based learning, particularly in literacy and numeracy. Under wellbeing, in St Mary's we absolutely recognise that before children can learn, they must feel happy, safe, secure and trusting in their environment. Positive relationships are at the heart of what we do, and ensuring every child feels that they are known and loved. Our ethos is rooted in gospel values and children's rights, which underpin all aspects of school life. The inspection highlighted the strength of our inclusive approaches and our commitment to wellbeing. The school environment is safe, respectful and supportive. Strong partnerships with families and external agencies ensure that learners feel valued and cared for. In the absence of exclusions and our strong attendance record demonstrate the effectiveness of our whole school approach to wellbeing and equity, and our work to ensure that there's a pull to school, and our inspection team recognised this, which is great. Our school community has changed hugely in the last 3 years. In line with priorities for authority, we've been working to develop our understanding across the school of equality and diversity. I was proud to read that the inspection team could see the positive work we've taken forward and recognise the positivity of our children for our diverse community. To have this recognised as strength in the comments reinforces the success of our work, which will continue and develop. And under attainment and achievement, the inspection report confirms that St Mary's continues to make strong and sustained progress in raising attainment for all learners. Children are achieving well in literacy and numeracy, and data shows that most are on track and exceeding national expectations. Learners use assessment data and teachers use it with them to plan targeted learning and monitor progress. We're particularly encouraged by our progress continuing in closing the attainment gap, and our strategic focus on equity and early intervention is ensuring that all pupils are supported to reach their full potential. Beyond academic measures, pupils benefit from a wide range of opportunities that the inspection highlights to promote skills for life learning and work. As well as achieving the 4 very goods, we're very pleased that the inspectors recognise our work, as Michael said, to develop our curriculum, and this has been recognised as practice worth sharing more widely. Michael's put a real focus on shaping our curriculum at head teacher conferences for the last few years and encouraged us to be creative in taking forward a curriculum fit for our context. We've worked as a school community to design a curriculum rationale which meets the needs of our learners and community. It's now shaping our curriculum and providing a much wider range of opportunities to develop new skills. In conclusion, St Mary's Primary is a community built on shared values, strong relationships and high aspirations. This report reflects the collective efforts of our staff, pupils and families to create a school environment where every child is happy, respected, supported and inspired to succeed. We are proud of this recognition and remain fully committed to continuous improvement, equity and excellence for our development. Thank you for your time and I welcome any questions or comments.
Thank you, Mark. I'm going to open up for questions and comment. Obviously, I'll apologise for when we quit earlier on. You would think after having 4 kids that went to St Mary's and went on to Notre Dame, I would remember where they went to, but obviously not. Jessica?
Thanks so much. Thanks for coming to talk to us about the report today, Mark. So I think you're right to be proud, as you've said, in the story you've told there about the inspection. Really, I think it's great to acknowledge that authority review and the work that goes on and the preparation and support. And I just think it's a school that I know well. So I think what we see in the report and in what you've just said is what we kind of really all want, is that you see young people and families achieving their potential while also through your leadership remaining happy and relaxed. And I think you've summed that up and it's great to see that reflected in the report. So thanks to everybody for all the work that they've done to get to that point and to stay at that point. Thanks very much.
Anyone else? Elizabeth?
Thank you. Thanks so much. Thank you. Congratulations to everybody in the school community for achieving this together, because you clearly have. I'm actually quite intrigued in something that you said, and I don't have an answer now, and I would kind of value some information about this later on about developing a curriculum rationale. It sounds like a fascinating process, and I would like to know more about it. That's okay.
Jim?
Cool to school's a great phrase, and it really says what you do. Nice that you have that. Always delighted to hear that schools are implementing emotional values skills, which is so much trust in our Catholic schools, and it's always fantastic to hear when you're getting experience that they expect when we go there. So congratulations to you and the whole school community.
Okay, Jim, thanks. Do we have any other members? No, Mark, can I just thank you for coming along today? It's really much appreciated. And for us, it's always, in this committee, it's always good to see that our peer review that we do matches up very well with what we're actually seeing when the inspectors are coming as well. So thank you very much. Please bring back our thanks to all your teachers and the pupils of the school as well. It's much appreciated. Thank you. You know, I think I like it better than it's more better. Can I thank you all for that? And I think we're genuine. That's one of the things we do look for. It's putting what we actually do in the papers and seeing the face of it and listening to either the head teacher or the pupils in the case as well of really trying to bring it to life to us. So with that, we'll go into the next most fascinating part of the agenda, and that's always the revenue budget. So I'll let Ian take over from there.
It's always the most fascinating, this so there are 2 parts to the revenue budget this cycle. The final outcome for 24-25 and the projected outturn for 25-26. So section 3.3 and 3.4 of the report give details of the final outturn, and that was an overspend of 77,000 or 0.07% of the total budget, and that was a reduction in expenditure of 43,000 since the committee in May. Section 3.4 highlights the main variances responsible for the overspend, and the majority of these have not changed significantly since the last report in May. So moving on to the 25-26 one, the education part of the committee, the budget is currently 117.7 million, and the latest projections are overspend of 287,000 or 0.5% of the budget, and the majority of the overspend relates to employee costs, non-achievement of turnover savings and transportation costs. In section 3.5 there, it lists the main variances in detail. So section 3.6 and appendix 4 provide details of the earmarked reserves. Currently we're 100% of the phased spend and 8.7% of the expected spend for the financial year. I'm not requesting any violence this committee cycle, so committee are asked to note the final outturn for 24-25 and the projected spend of 287,000 for the current financial year. And committee are also asked to note that proposals to address the underlying budget pressures will be presented to future meetings of this committee. Then I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to open up for questions. Can't see any in the room, and I can't see any online. Can we agree the paper?
Okay.
Thank you. We move along to agenda item number 10, which is the capital report. And can I ask Eddie to start us now? Eddie?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. It's been another busy summer programme of works. The life cycle programme summarising the appendices. In addition to the launch of smaller projects, there have been multi-school contracts for render cleaning, facade cleaning, building decoration, and toilet refurbishment. Although in the artificial pitch was planned for this financial year, we're reviewing the asset plan over the next 6 months and potentially have some projects into the next financial year. In terms of actual panel refresh, we're looking to take that forward between now and the end of the calendar year and net zero. I know the project there with the summer of the film centre, and that included improvements to the roof and improvement to panels and included in that installation as well. 2 insurance funds projects were completed over the summer too. It's St Michael's and St Mary's. The roofs have been fully reinstated for the new home. And last but not least, the sufficiency projects. Projects at former enterprise centre and the Portland campus, the expansion of the Marvel and the expansion in Norfolk for the nursery. In addition to some smaller other projects that we do all the time for the new term, which was very pleasing to see. Any questions?
Thank you, Eddie. I'll open up to questions. Yes, Madam Elizabeth.
Just to say a huge thank you to our colleagues in property services. When Eddie says it's been a busy summer, I think that's a huge underestimation. It has been absolutely chock-a-block, and everything's been delivered. It went to the wire, but everything was delivered in line, and so just a huge thanks.
So that's just stole my thunder already. So if there's no questions, I think you do realise that the members do appreciate the amount of hard work that has been done, especially with your staff during the summer. We realise what a busy time it is, and as Ruth said, it's always much appreciated for when the young people start back that they've got all this stuff done for them. So please pass our thanks to everybody involved. Thank you. Can we move to item number 11, which is the Education Services Improvement Plan? Michael?
I don't intend to spend very long introducing this because we had a member briefing on the improvement plan about a week ago now. You've had a further presentation on one of the actions within it in relation to the SEQF. So other than what I've already said at the member briefing, I would just be happy to take any further questions on the plan. Okay, I'm going to open up for any questions. Elizabeth, is your light one? Yeah, Elizabeth.
thank you for the paper for the plan. I apologise. Like circumstances precluded me from being at the briefing. My question is really about what's on page 75 in terms of school leaver estimation results. I'm just aware of the long journey that we can went on with regards to that across our partnership with SDS colleagues, with colleagues across agencies that are beyond the council a number of years ago to get us to the point where we had the best SLDR results in the whole of Scotland. We printed ourselves in years and years of no unknowns. We knew where every single child who left and every school went to, even if it wasn't quite yet, it was an investigation. We just were utterly on this. And I see that it has dropped, and I'm glad it's expressed in the improvement plan and it's been picked up as something that we want to effect change in. But I'm just wondering what's happened, I suppose.
Michael?
So through you, convener, I think the particular issue we have is not so much the initial leavers destination figure, which is a census capture, data capture in a few weeks' time in October. The challenge that we have, and I think the figure that you might be referring to, is the follow-up figure, the sustainability of that destination, which is picked up on a later data capture in June. And obviously that's a figure that is lower than we would like, and one that we have reacted to leading up to that figure. There's been a lot of ongoing work building on the work that you refer to that's been long-standing, and it remains the fact that we have no unknowns. Our challenge is though that I think there's a complex piece that we're talking about here, but I think there are some key elements to it. And I think one of the things that we have done over certainly the education service is worked ever more closely with our colleagues within employability regeneration. Myself and Neil have brought our teams together to really think through how we can further make progress on this. But I think the other key point is it's not just about the education service. Team is the wider partners, the college and its offer, and a whole range of other factors. We had a meeting, a summit meeting, I guess, in the holiday period where we had colleagues to my right and my left, colleagues from HSCP, colleagues from SDS, colleagues from the college, new leadership team from the college present, and we really spent an entire morning pushing ourselves as to what could we be doing to ensure the particular point around sustainability is something that we are addressing. So in actual fact, the plan that's in front of you has evolved, particularly I think it's D1 in its numbering, has actually been unpacked in quite a lot of detail through a range of meetings that we've had to push ourselves as to what more really digging into the detail could we be doing here. I think there's a couple of themes. One is about transition, and really picking apart how we do that even better from, for example, school to college or to the destination that the young person is going to, whether it's the training programme, and ensuring that's done really well and is supported in some way more than it is currently. There's also what we can do better, for example, if a placement such as a college placement is looking like it's beginning to break down for the young person, to wrap around them, to hold them in that position and look again at the support that's on offer to allow them to continue to sustain it. And equally, if that is not the case, that internal communication from college back to SDS, and then the offer, which is the second theme, the widest offer that we have available to us, which is evolving and developing continuously with reference to a range of new opportunities that are coming to Inverclyde through the Region City deal, for example, new programmes like the Fishermen's Trust, which is paid incentivised work, so that there's a need to really look at enhancing that offer. So in the same way as the young people were talking about the curriculum at school evolving and developing, but that offer is also evolving and developing, and encouraging the college are talking about recognising that there is that need to look again at the curriculum offer, but very much doing that in partnership so that we have much clearer pathways through. So it is highly complex and challenging, but what I would, to come in, what I would say is, what we definitely have is commitment from the widest partnership team, both within the council and our wider partners, to continue to push to achieve that high initial leavers destination. It's 2 years ago we had our best ever initial leavers destination figure. But most importantly is, rather than sitting back and being happy about that, is ensuring that once those destinations have been started, that they are sustainable for the young people.
You're happy. Elizabeth,
Obviously, really comprehensive answer. Thank you. And I just think it's such a, I'm so heartened by the fact that there's a wider possible partnership involved in being the solution for this, because it's not an education on their own issue. In fact, it arguably it's kind of ceases progressively to be an education issue. But I'm so glad that we can to working on this. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Elizabeth. Pam?
Thanks, Karina. Yes, thanks very much for the part of the document. It's great, and thanks for the briefing. I think I raised this at the briefing, but I'm just raising this in relation to page 93, page 14 of the certificate plan. I very much commend the work we're going to debate, but it's a plea really to add in negative pouches, because the new thing, it's a constant struggle to keep even up with the tobacco companies. Someone might get ahead of them, but nicotine pouches are the new thing. They cause addiction. They also cause oral health problems, cardiovascular problems, and there's currently no controls on them because they don't contain the tobacco. So they're not covered by vaping, and they're not covered by sale and distribution of tobacco products. So it's really a plea to and we know that our young people are using them because the litter pickers are finding the pink, these the rubbish that's left behind. So just a point, please.
Just before I bring the officers in, I'm just going to go to Sandra. Was you on the same point, Sandra? You got a different point?
It is on vaping, yeah, just to add to that. Do you want to take that?
Yeah, by all means, Sandra.
So it's really just a comment. I just want to say that it's really encouraging the test purchasing scheme that's been going on this spring. Fixed penalty notices went down to 0 after the single-use ban, which is encouraging. Because this is an education, I also wanted to mention, I think it's, again, encouraging to see that the vaping lessons are will be extended to P5 to 7. I think you'll all agree that awareness of this has no kind of age boundaries, and these lessons will start in November for the pilot. Pam mentioned the tobacco pouches called the white snus in this country, and that's very concerning. When I'm out litter picking, I'm picking up more and more of these pouches from the gutters, etc. And as she says, at the moment they're not controlled by any legislation. However, the new legislation that is coming in, and it can't come quick enough, the Tobacco and Vapes Bill will cover these snus products and will future-proof against attempts to bypass it by the companies buying other novel products and marketing strategies. So the quicker that can come in, the better. And I'm told that amendment of the existing legislation may mean that it can come in quicker than primary legislation. So yes, so that's kind of some positive stuff that I have to thank Neil and his team for informing me about. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Sandra. I'm going to let Ruth comment maybe on the both, but especially on the tobacco pouches.
Yes, and it's undoubtedly aimed at young people when you see the colour of the pouches. So I see Hugh's on the screen. We do have the Alcohol and Drug Partnership funding our youth workers, and they're developing resources for teachers to use in the classrooms and also to do it directly. So Hugh's aware of it. We will continue to work with the schools to just get that message out. But you're right, it's really disappointing that this is coming and it's aimed at young people.
Okay, thanks, Ruth. I'm going to open up for any other questions. If there's no other questions, can we agree the report? And again, can we move on to agenda item number 12, which is the general update report? Again, there's 11 items on the general update report, so it's a really heavy report. I'll ask Michael to introduce it. Michael.
So through you, convener, again, I don't intend to the report to you, but there's obviously some key points and some highlights. Since we last met, we've had a flurry of key inspectorate activity within the local authority, and the outcomes of the 4 inspections are laid out for you. Overall, very pleased with the performance, continues to perform strongly, and by and large, the outcomes very much in alignment with our ongoing evaluation and work in relation to the nursery classes and standalone establishments that the inspectors have visited. Now that I've said that, I'll turn to some key notes. At 3.2, the annual on placement requests are linked to obviously placement requests come continuously, but into the placement requests linked to the annual process where we have the annual group replacement panel at 3.2. At 3.3, we've given you some further information about the support for ESL families from over the summer period, with some data in there about uptake, and that's outlined there as well. At 3.4, we've got some information we can share with you in this given moment about the Education Reform and Education Scotland Bill, in terms of where we are with that. Obviously, there's ongoing recruitment for the Chief Inspector and the Chief Executive of the new Education Scotland body. I believe potentially there's something happening in the next couple of weeks about advertising again for those posts. But also pleased to note that the Chief Executive was found for the SQE, and there's information about that appointment there. There's a range of other information, other legislation for updates across 3.5 through to 3.8 and 9. And I don't know if either Tony or Ruth wants to speak to 3.10 within the report.
Tony?
Yeah, just I suppose this was our best powers report, which was approved during sort of in line with procedure. We'll bring that to the next committee. Thank you for just the highlight. And the contracts coming up, and we need to move fast and to get in place for August.
Okay, thank you, Michael. I'm going to open up for questions. I'll bring Elizabeth in first of all. Elizabeth.
Thanks. I've got 2 points in the report that I'd like to ask a couple of questions on. The first one is in the care inspection outcomes. Side of things, I'm looking at the previous Blairmore and the new Blairmore, and that just looks like a very peculiar change in terms of the change in the gradings. It's quite a big jump, but not in leadership, which just seemed a bit peculiar to me, because I would have thought that leadership might have affected some of the changes in the other areas, and therefore there would be some problems with that. I'm just wondering what has made the difference in the other areas, and how, I suppose, how did you get to the point where things were adequate and they were quite happy that that's not going to happen those other areas, I guess. So a couple of things in terms of that.
Michael?
So through you, convener, yeah, normally we wouldn't necessarily see that level of, we might see a move from good to very good or adequate to good, but I think what the team at Blairmore did was they, with huge conviction and massive effort, were determined that the quality of care, play and learning and the provision of the setting, which are the first 2, would not be adequate any longer. And to their credit, and the Care Inspectorate gave this feedback during the feedback session. It is rare to see that kind of grade shift, but it genuinely was the case here. I think potentially what happened here was that they were so determined that that quality of care and nurture and learning experience would improve, that potentially there were elements within the leadership grade that hadn't potentially moved forward at the same pace. And so that's why you see that slight difference. You may well, I agree with you, there's sometimes readings, there's also context to it. We certainly felt it was fair and accurate. We didn't feel that we were in a position to challenge the good for leadership, and the team acknowledged some of the more technical aspects potentially needed to be in place, but they had driven their efforts on quality of the provision in the playrooms, and that's what has seen the biggest shift and improvement. Obviously, in your second question, we've got a very thorough process for monitoring and quality assuring all our establishments. And I think there's been a period of change around Blairmore over the last few years. Sometimes I think, an inspection team, the problem was, I think what happened here was that the previous inspection had been very recent. And this was another inspection following on from a very recent inspection. So there had been some challenges around staffing that had meant that potentially some of the consistency maybe wasn't there at the point of the inspection. I mean, these inspections are a snapshot in time, over a short period of time, even in the time that they are there. But although we were disappointed as the reports committee with the adequates, what we've been able to achieve and prove is that we can get it back to a very high standard very quickly, and that's the credit of Leslie, the head of centre, alongside her own and her team.
Okay. That's really thanks again.
Yes, I thought you. Yeah.
So it's about the 3.3, which is specifically for SEN pupils and families over the summer. Obviously, we're reaching another reporting milestone on the journey that we're on with this, and it's really. It's really good to see how the summer sort of panned out. Looking at some of the uptake levels, attendance rates, in 3.3, there's number of areas, number 3, number 4, we've got uptake attendance rates of 50%, 41%, which obviously are what they are. That was the story of what happened. I'm just wondering if we're doing a kind of lessons learned, if we're sort of doing a planning ahead to continue to meetings, maybe that wasn't quite just check that the journey continues.
I'll bring Ruth in that one, Michael, that's okay.
Yes, and absolutely, and we've got an officer now going to be looking at this because you can make assumptions from the stats, but actually they would be only assumptions, and it might be with a slight tweak that parents would find it easier to get to some of the provisions. Have we advertised it to the right people? Have we opened it wide enough? So I think it's today. Parents will have received some of the consultation we're doing with Your Voice as well, asking them to get in touch and to give us views. And we will keep looking. At the enhanced support for play schemes was particularly disappointing because these people who had got in touch and had booked, and then we're not sure exactly why some of the non-attendances are there. It may be down to the needs of the young person themselves. It may be the strangeness of the environment. So we need to get into it, dig deep, and that will take time. And we'll keep enhancing the provision, listening, looking. We won't always get it right. We know that, but we'll keep trying.
Okay, Elizabeth. Can I ask Sandra, have you got your hand up, or was it a legacy hand?
Sorry, it's a legacy hand. Sorry,
Okay, thanks, Sandra. David, Councillor Wilson.
Yeah, thank you, convener. Referring to the Supreme Court decision on the 13th of April this year regarding trans issues. Can you tell me, Michael, if there's been any update, a national policy with regard to the result of that Supreme Court decision, with specific reference to the schools policy that exists at the moment on trans issues, which I think dates back to 2021. Thank you, Michael.
Can I first go to our legal person? Anne, do you wish to comment on that first? And then if Michael or Ruth wants to add, they can.
Through you, convener, I can confirm, Councillor Wilson, that following the UK Supreme Court decision, the Council has arranged for a short life working group to be set up with representatives from legal, education services, HR and services across the Council in order to look at the Council's state. However, at the present time, updated guidance is awaited from the EHCR. This guidance was due to be issued by the end of July. There's been a consultation ongoing, and the most up-to-date position was that the up-to-date guidance would be issued by the end of August, and unfortunately that has not been issued yet. But once that guidance is available, then the short life working group will be in a position to take matters forward.
Thank you, Anne. Does Ruth or Michael? No. Is that okay with you, David?
Yeah, thanks very much. I think it answers my question. There's been no update from the Scottish Government Education Department. Thank you for that. Thank you.
I'm just going to go straight to Pamela. Pam.
Thanks, convener. Yes, back to Glenmore. As one of the ward councillors, I just wanted to put on record my thanks to Leslie and everyone involved at Glenmore, because it is, an incredible achievement to go from adequate to, and very good. And thanks to everybody.
Thank you. Can I ask, is there any other questions? If not, can we agree the report? Can we move on to the next one, which is the review of transport for pupils with additional needs? This is the first paper, and I'm going to ask Tony to go for the first paper. Tony.
Thanks, Convener. So this report is looking for approval from the committee to proceed with a pilot exercise to extend use of internal transport for people with additional support needs. Primarily, this is the result of a lot of work that's been done with cross-council working group to look at ways of trying to reduce the costs associated with ASM transport. And we developed proposals to look at providing a pilot to extend really the provision to our own internal transport service as a way of trying, we'll also look at ways of utilising drivers and buses to see if this is a potential way to try and control some of the costs associated with ASM transport. But given the length of time it takes to actually purchase the bus, we need to ask for approval now so that it could be in probably August 26 before we actually see that put into place. So we're looking to pilot it with 4 buses essentially. One would not be cost efficient, and if we replaced all the runners, we would put too high a risk. So we deemed to extend it by 4 buses. We felt the risks were lower, and it would give us a real opportunity to see whether or not this could be a potential way of reducing the overall cost for ASM transport in the future. So we're happy to take any questions on it.
Thanks for that, Tony. I'm going to bring Elizabeth in first. Elizabeth.
Thanks, Convener. I had just a couple of questions on this. First of all, when I'm looking at the way the report is worded and it talks about internal provision versus external provision, I'm aware that I'm not really familiar with what that looks like. What is our internal provision currently, and how does that? And I'm not asking for that question right now, but I wouldn't mind getting a sense of what internally we currently do provide and what we have to go out for.
So it's probably about a third of our provision is provided internally, around a third, and they obviously we use them first before we go to the market. So we would be extending that by potentially a couple of other buses to try and push into probably near the halfway mark, and that's what we're trying to establish.
Okay, so four more would take us to about 50, just about 50%.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, 50, so about 20, there's only about 23, 24 programs.
And a further question, if that's okay.
Yep.
So there's obviously a pretty big capital expenditure, sort of like for new actual buses. And I'm just wondering, because we're doing it as a pilot, what happens if the pilot is not successful, like a capital expenditure?
We're looking at the profile of the costs. I'm confident even if the pilot didn't work, we would probably still be more efficient by keeping those buses. If we can keep them and the drivers, we'd probably I would imagine we'd be absorbed into our internal fleet after that time. So it's important that we continue to work with Neil McVanney on that to make sure that the drivers are utilised, and a number of things that we're thinking about as well, about how can we maximise the use of the drivers during the day, consortium travel, things like that as well, and introduce perhaps a booking system to make sure that these are getting used during the day as well. But ultimately there is a risk that the pilot doesn't work, and that's why we're keeping the purchase to the minimum that we can, I think, in order to see.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to go to Councillor Wilson next. David?
Yeah, thanks very much. More a comment, convener. My group welcome this report, and certainly from an SPT point of view, we are updated on a 2-monthly basis on the costs of school transport. And throughout the 12 councils in the west of Scotland, it has increased exponentially, the cost of it, and particularly the cost of ASN transport. And I really welcome that we are trying to do something to try and control it. I think it's important to go out to consultation so that we come up with a reasonably agreeable result. Thank you.
Thanks, David. Can I ask, is there any? Tommy, Councillor McVeigh?
Thank you, Convener. I note in 4.3, page 113 there, ESCS are not included in this. So does that mean there's a danger that any savings are linked out with additional use of escorts?
So the PSAs that we use currently on commercial buses would just transfer them to an internal one, so there would be any additional PSAs, we would just be taking off the existing contracts and putting them on the new contracts.
Okay, Tom. Can we agree the paper? Thank you. Can we move on to agenda item number 14? And that is a consultation on assessment of transport for pupils with additional support needs. And I'm going to ask Ruth to start on this one. Ruth?
Yes, thank you, Convener. So you'll know from previous papers that we've brought to this committee that we've increased provision, specialist provision for ASN, and we've tried to spread that across the whole of the Clyde. So we now have more schools offering specialist provision. We have managed to staff that on the whole within existing resources by pivoting resources, but there is no doubt that that provision will also increase the pressure on the ASN transport. You are also aware through previous papers to this committee that we have an overspend on ASN transport, and the previous paper is looking at how we can manage that. But we are in line with other authorities. We know that every other authority is experiencing pressures on their ASN transport budget. And as you would expect, we have looked at what other authorities are doing to see if they are doing anything to help manage these pressures that we could possibly do. So we have looked at what steps other authorities have taken, and some of the authorities were the same as us, where it was custom practice for if a pupil attended ASN provision, then they automatically got transport. And other authorities have started to look at some sort of assessment of that transport, rather than assuming that the transport is needed or that the pupil lives a certain distance. We're looking to put an assessment into place. Now, to be clear, this is not the removal of ASN transport for all pupils. What we are looking at is we are looking at holding consultation with the parents of pupils who live within 1 mile or 2 miles of secondary, who wouldn't normally be entitled to transport under our policy, but currently receive it through custom and practice, and to see what type of assessment would be needed, what the assessment would look like, and to look at the issues that it would raise if we were to proceed with going through an assessment process. So this paper is not looking to make any policy changes. It's not looking to withdraw the transport. It is looking to open the conversation and consult with the parents. I am happy to take any questions on this.
Okay, obviously it's an extremely sensitive issue, so I will open it for any questions. Any questions? In that case, can we? No, that's fine, Elizabeth. I realise, yeah.
Question actually, it says just a comment. I think the position that we've taken as a group in terms of all the things that we've brought from people in terms of ASN is that there's money that is spent in the ASN sector, there's considerable resource there, and we always want to make sure, and we've always said that we want to make sure that it's spent on the right things, and the only way we can ensure that money is spent on the right things is talking to relevant people. And so I suppose obviously we've seen what's been in the papers and how it's been reported and how the news of this paper has landed, but I think I certainly would be hoping that people will take the opportunity to feed into a consultation process what the needs of their children are and honestly have a look at this, because we want to make sure that every pound that we've got to spend honour young people who have additional support needs to spend absolutely where it's needed to be spent. So it's not a question, but it's a comment in my topic as well, really.
No, I think that's fine. Are you wishing to come back in that?
Yeah, just to come in and, you know, that obviously there's been some media around this, and I just wonder if people actually understood what the paper was asking for. I think there was possibly a misunderstanding of what the paper was doing, and the fact that one comment said, I wish things would have a meeting with parents to find out what they feel. That's exactly what this paper is asking to do, because we need to know the issues, good, bad, you know, and it may be that the assessment is not the way we want to go forward. It may have too big an impact, but we need to know the facts of that. We need to know how the parents feel about it and what the genuine issues will be.
Okay. And with that, can we agree the paper?
Yeah.
And it leads on nicely to the next, which is the Scottish Government additional funding for additional support needs. We've spent a lot of time on the ASN, but quite likely as well. So I'm going to ask Michael to comment on the paper. Michael.
So for you now, as the report indicates at 1.2, through the 25-26 budget allocation process, the Scottish Government allocated for additional £29 million nationally for additional support for learning. And Inverclyde's share of that was £384,000. Obviously, we know we've talked about it in many different aspects this afternoon. The Education Committee has already agreed a report previously on the expansion of the ASN provision done in Inverclyde, and we've reported back on that, and the associated teaching and support costs and indeed capital expenditure that's gone into that have all been contained within existing budgets and also within staffing exercises we've outlined. At 1.4, we're outlining how we propose to spend that £384,000. So initially, this is a recurring budget, just to point out as well. This is not a one-off amount of money, this will be a recurring amount that comes to the council. £200,000 will be going towards transport costs, which we've already referenced. It's already been allocated with detail in separate reports. to Education Communities Committee. £24,000 provide additionality to purchase ASN resources with an ASN resource budget, which goes into funding, for example, additional equipment that's required to support young people, sometimes IT equipment to support meeting their needs. And that budget is continuously overspent because of the rising number of young people that need that level of support. £40,000 would go to an additional resource to support the efficient deployment of ASN resource allocation and transport requirements. And the remaining £120,000 would go towards increasing the budget for pupil support systems to create more resilience across ASN provisions, and also to support further resulting outcomes of the revised ASN strategy, which will be reported to the committee to future date. So it's recommended that the Education and Communities Committee approves the use of funding for additional support for learning as outlined in section 4 and full of the paper. Happy to take any questions.
Okay, thank you, Michael. I'm going to open up to questions. You notice I'm looking at my left-hand side and there's nobody there, so apologies for that. I can't see anything online. Is there anything in the room? If not, can we agree the paper? Thank you. Can we move along to item number 16, which is improving young people's representation in boards and committees? And I'm going to let Tony introduce this. Tony.
Thank you, Convener. In November 24, the committee was planned to Young Scotland undertake a consultation exercise with young people at the aim of co-designing a model which would improve the involvement of young people in committee business. At the time, we felt we agreed that it would be good for Young Scotland to undertake this and to work with young people, because we were really keen that we got a sense of what they actually, how they want to be consulted on, and what they want from getting involved with the Education Communities Committee. So the attached to the report is the actual report undertaken by Young Scotland, and section 3.4 you'll see involved kind of council's response, because we do actually have a number of mechanisms already in place for consulting with young people, but we appreciate that it needs to go further in terms of responding to what they've said in the report. So with that in mind, the proposal is that we create a youth forum, essentially, which is an amalgamation of our youth council, and the meetings that young people currently have with the directorate team around issues that are important to them. This will run alongside the Clyde Conversations model, which is very much a model that young people like, because they get a chance to really discuss what the matters that are important to them, but it's not going to fulfill the remit and get involved in the committee business either. So we're proposing to pilot this young people's forum, work with young people a wee bit more to see how is this sufficient. So we're looking for young, our chief officers and chief executive and political representation to be at that, and a chance for a question and answer session really for young people, and see how that works out as we try and work our way forward. So it's really just the report is asking for the approval to go ahead with this model, and also to the report done by Young Scotland to take any questions.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Now open up to questions. Can't see anything online, none in the room. Sorry, Councillor Quinn. Oh, sorry, I've got hands up now. I'll bring Councillor Quinn in first of all, and then Councillor Wilson. Councillor Quinn.
Yeah, thanks. Just a quick question for Tony. So thanks for the report. A lot of work gone into it. So thanks for the work that's went into the consultation, and lots of positive ways that we're going to communicate with young people. So I look forward to seeing all those come into committee, where committees might be slightly longer, but I'm sure that'll be a good thing. I've just got a quick question on, so when I'm looking through, it looks quite a lot of input is in from our secondary school pupils. I was just trying to establish that the pupil council will include our primary pupils as well, so that they get a say in it, are equally, their voices are heard within the inputs. Thanks.
I'm going to bring Ruth in right away to answer that. Ruth?
Yes, absolutely. The meetings we have already involve primary and secondary, and actually many people we spoke to as part of that were keen that it was over a wide range of ages as well.
Okay, great, thank you.
Councillor Wilson, David?
Yeah, I am quoted at one stage saying that I felt we could release one of our representatives of the clergy and replace that post by a young person. That went back to my own group where I was soundly outvoted. My group are not desperately in favour of this paper. We note that in other parts of the country there are councillors who are 18 and 19-year-old, and I think if a young person wants to influence matters, then the route might well be to stand for the council. We're not going to object to this stage. We'll let the recommendations go forward. But if anything comes back where a young person will actually be a member of this committee in particular, we will be opposing it. Thank you, convener.
Thanks for that, David. As normal, thanks for your input. Reverend Butt.
Just to point out that the three representatives are not clergy. They are representatives from religious communities. They don't necessarily need to be clergy. Secondly, any involvement with young people should be welcomed. They are the people who are coming through this area. We want to retain people in Inverclyde, and by giving them the best possible outcome and experiences, that's what this is enabling them to do. And then you saw the input we received this afternoon from the representatives of the two high schools. That's what we need. Their voice being heard, because the decisions you're making affect these young people. And if we don't hear from them directly on what their needs and requirements are, and their concerns, then what's the point of it? So I wholeheartedly agree, it's a great paper, it's taking things forward, and thank goodness for that. And if there are representatives coming out of the committee, then so much the better.
Thank you. Is there any other questions? If not, can we agree the report? Can we move on again to one of these reports, and that's the annual report for the Inverclyde Wellbeing Service. And I'll ask Michael to introduce it. Michael.
So if you for you, convener, I was reflecting earlier today on the very first things I did now that I remember like 7 years ago was to meet with colleagues to design the first inception of the wellbeing service. And here we are some years later with the latest annual report, an action for children who are a provider, a neighbour provider, and offering the counselling service to young people across Inverclyde. So the purpose of the committee, reports committee, is to do that annual report. There is a full report produced by Action for Children, which is an appendix to the paper. And as well as offering the counselling service, you'll note, I'm sure, it's an ongoing piece of work, but there's, as well as one-to-one counselling, there's other curricular-based support groups in secondary schools, as well as ongoing innovation around supporting transitions for young people, particularly moving from primary 7 into S1. The report outlines a lot of impact evidence across a lot of detailed information. The service is also has a balanced budget for this academic year, and the other point to note is that the contract for Action for Children now into year 2 of a fresh contract, and the contract will be due to expire in July 2027, so we've got some time. We will then go into process to look at reviewing that. So the recommendations that committee members are asked to note the content of the annual government report for the wellbeing service. I'm happy to take any questions, and I believe Lawrence Riley, principal educational psychologist who's also intrinsically involved in this work, is on the line, who could take questions as well.
Okay, thank you, Michael. I'm going to open it up to questions. I've got Elizabeth first, so either for me or either for Michael or Lawrence. Elizabeth.
Thank you. I don't know for the Michael words, but I don't think anyone will be happy to question because it's a question I ask every year on this one, page 175, on the outcome KPIs for this service is about reducing tier 3 camper burials, and it's a piece of information that we still don't we don't seem to have. That's not to take away from the brilliant work that the Wellbeing Service does. I know first hand that it does a really great job. But one of the objectives was to make sure that that only people who clinically needed CAMHS had to go to CAMHS. That there was another showing time for people who could have their mental health needs supported via a less clinical model, and I still have no evidence all these years as to whether they're actually doing that side of things.
Michael, would you like to?
So if you could mean I don't know if Lawrence wants to come in a minute. I suspected that you might well ask that question, and I know you have, and I recall us making quite a bit of effort to get to answer that question. I refer to me being involved in the writing of the establishment of the procurement package that went out around this. That was pre-pandemic, and I think that was certainly the aim of the work. And I think what's possibly caused some challenge for us is that the number of young people requiring tier 2 and tier 3 support has increased overall. What is certainly the case, and it remains the case, is that it's innovative, and it remains, I suspect, innovative, is that all referrals do come into central triaging points, and there's a regular series of meetings with colleagues to review those to ensure that whatever referral is coming in, it may well be that there's an indication that the referrer believes it's a stage 2 referral, but it's believed that it's stage 3, then that's where it would go. So I'm assured that the young people are getting the right level of support when the referral comes in. I'll endeavour to find out again and see if I can dig back in. I don't know if Lawrence, all I can see is LR, and I'm hoping that's Lawrence Riley. I don't know if Lawrence has a view or can share any further thoughts. Lawrence?
Okay, thanks, Michael. Thanks, convener. Yeah, I'd agree with what Michael had to say there too. It's difficult to extrapolate information that directly correlates referrals into the Action for Children service against CAMHS because we've got a mixed landscape whereby it's not just Action for Children, we've got interventions such as the Whole Family Wellbeing Fund going on in the background too. So to take one of those and to attribute it to a lowering in CAMHS referrals would be quite difficult to do too. Yeah, I'd probably agree with Michael with what you had to say too.
Elizabeth, you want to come back in?
Thanks. Can I respectfully ask the remove it as a KPI then? It's annoying me every year. Hopefully there are other people, because it's a piece of information that we're saying that we should be able to provide, and for very valid reasons clearly we can. So and yet it persists then as a unresolvable.
Michael, do you want to comment?
Yeah, we can do that. And as I say, when we first sat down, these are KPIs that probably are, although there's been revision as the contract went out, possibly when we had the opportunity we should have removed it. But we could certainly take that away and consider the removal of it going forward. So
we could possibly even adjust the KPI to what we are seeing through the triage system is that we do have tangible evidence of children who in times past prior to this service would have gone to CAMHS and this service is acting as a way to kind of arrest that, I suppose too. So we do have some evidence of that too, just not a holistic array of evidence. So we can maybe
Yeah, just lost Lawrence end there, but I think we're in agreement with what he was saying, what Michael was saying. Can I ask, is it Pam?
PI, a wee bit.
I don't know if he's still speaking.
Lawrence, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here. I went down for a period.
Right, okay. We just probably missed your last sentence, Lawrence.
Sorry, convener. So I've just been saying too, but we do have some evidence that it's not we don't have evidence, but we do have some evidence that children do come in for triage, and in times past would have gone on probably into the world of CAMHS, but instead of that are going to Action for Children instead of that too. It's just it's trying to nail that and give very definitive evidence is quite tough, I would say too. So I would agree we maybe need to take that KPI away and sort of play about with it because it's a bit historic, I suppose too.
No, that's fine, Lawrence. Thanks for your input there. I'm going to bring Pam in now, Councillor Armstrong.
Yeah, thanks very much, convener. Thanks for the report, and it's informed and very helpful. I just wanted to make a point. I was at an event last Friday hosted by a WISE group. It was at the day group. And actually the children were there. Different organisations gave short presentations. So there was a short presentation on the wellbeing service. Actually, children also gave some information about Sidestep, which is an initiative about criminal exploitation of children. But there were a whole range of organisations there. And I'll quickly say, DWP work coaches from the DWP, employability, community link workers who are based in GP surgeries, there's Beehive, Beehub, and I certainly learned a lot from being there. But more importantly, I was at a table with two newly qualified social workers who were in the protected year, and one member of staff who's from the kind of grow our own social workers, and they learned a lot. So I think if there's, I really make the plea for some sort of short paper that details the contribution, all of that range of organisations, including WISE Group, they all make, and I know what the arguments are, well, the funding changes and things change and so on, and I know I recognise that it's a snapshot, but if I'm learning something, and critically, our social workers are learning something, then it seems to me that it's, and I know I'm putting this just on the wellbeing service, but the wellbeing service is part of the network of family support services across Inverclyde, and just some better picture of everything that's there, I think would be helpful. Thank you.
Yes, and we were aware of the event because we've established a very productive working relationship with the WISE Group, who've been funded by the Scottish Government to support Inverclyde. And I wish I had a net that could go around and catch all the different initiatives at the different times and just put them somewhere. But what we do know is that we need to. There are different suites of interventions that will suit different types of people. We need to be better at working together and knowing what's available. The Inverclyde approach, looking at the work we're doing with Localstone, and the WISE Group are actually based up there for some of their times alongside employability, alongside early adopted childcare, and they're also going into some of our nurseries now as well to speak to parents. So you can see how there is this very rich palette of interventions. Tomorrow, I have got a meeting about how we communicate that. So we're on it, I would say. Now, it's difficult because it does keep changing, because there is some short-term funding involved in this, and the landscape can change. But what I would say is, when Lawrence was speaking about the mental health well-being, but also the family interventions, things coming through the hub, that's where we're probably going to end up with people knowing what's available as well, and actually being able to use that triage and get people to the type of support they need, rather than what we sometimes do is spraying for referrals, hoping something will stick. So yes, we're on it.
Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other questions? If not, can we agree the report? Thank you. Can we move to agenda item number 18, which is Scottish Attainment Challenge Evaluation Report? And again, that's yourself, Michael.
Yep, I think I'm actually going to hand over to my esteemed colleague, Mark Foyle.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Hi there, hi convener. Thanks, Michael. The key purpose of the Scottish Attainment Challenge is to use education to raise attainment for all, while closing the gap for those impacted by poverty. The report to committee highlights progress made for session 24-25 across the three funded programmes, the programmes being the Strategic Equity Fund, Pupil Equity Fund and the Care Experience Fund. Session 25-26 final year of the Attainment Scotland Fund, however, we have been informed that funding will continue for a further year. This has not been communicated in writing yet, and we're unaware of what the funding will look like, but we look forward to receiving that. The purpose of this report is to ask the committee to note the contents, which highlight the progress made across the three funding programmes over last session. Happy to take comments and questions.
Thank you, Mark. Again, I'm going to open it up for questions. I've got Francesca first. Francesca?
Thanks very much, Chair, and thanks very much, Mark, for that report. I think we chatted earlier on about positive destinations. So one of the bits of this report that I was really interested in and heartened by was the bit about the positive destinations and the links with some businesses that are either locally, like Babcock, and we've got Ogilvy Construction, because I think the whole thing that we often hear is that sort of businesses come into the area, do work, and then they don't always see the additional added on local benefit. And obviously there's lots going to be happening with construction in Greenock Town Centre over the next few years, which will ultimately be really positive. We've also just had the really positive news about the £10 billion that's coming for shipbuilding on the Clyde, and potentially 103 Scottish businesses are going to benefit from that, including Hope for Ferguson Marine. And we also mentioned earlier on the new leadership at West College Scotland. So I think it was just to say that we recognise these partnerships that are there and they're bearing fruit for young people, but we just want to really see that push keeping on going, that where there are businesses coming and investing in Inverclyde, and we're investing in them, that there's also that extra impact for young people and that appeal to officers who are working with the new leadership at West College Scotland, that we really want to see these partnerships being really positive for young people here, and potentially with that commercial business side as well. Thanks, and thanks very much, Mark, for all the work that's going on in that. Thank you.
I'm just going to let Michael do a quick comment. Michael?
Yes, just to give you an assurance that everything that you're referencing is in our line of sight, including potential future development, industry development, renewables coming in our local area. So we're absolutely having local market labour intelligence in our absolute line of sight, and make sure that we're able to identify pathways across the partnership, starting at school. So what another area that we're having a look at with the schools curriculum is utilising current resource, again shifting the focus of it around skills for work. So we're really trying to get in early to identify those pathways through to what we're talking about, and continuing to seek to work in partnership with local employers. We reported in our Standards and Quality report in April, it was made a committee, about work we've done with the likes of Babcock in creating programmes to support young people to develop skills in readiness for type of construction work, and also within construction work being brought into the local authority, there's community benefits element of that, where we've sought to exploit that in terms of providing work opportunities for young people as well.
Yeah.
You want to quickly come back?
Just really quickly, that's great. Michael, that is really reassuring, because I know you're saying community benefits. I was going to be more what's the word, direct and say what's in it for us, but that's a better way of putting it, because I think we've seen really small scale or benefits, and they've been really positive, like, with St Mary's, and they've got that partnership with Tonino's on a major kind of STEM enterprise projects, and Kilcoe Primary did the same, I think, with Punto, local businesses, and then these are these larger scale wins as well. So yeah, I think just really reassured that you're keeping pushing on that, that's great. Thank you.
Thanks, Francesca. Do we have any other questions? No online. Do we agree the paper? And the next paper is virtually just for noting, agenda number 19, which is the term types. You want to comment on it, Bonnie?
Yeah, just fess up here. We did review it and we wrote it down. So because the committee approves the school term dates, we have to come back as an amendment. And obviously, if anybody is really far in advance and 2027, like a waiting or something, we will try and run that. So that was just the committee approval to fix the paper.
Thank you, Tony. Can we agree the paper?
Yes.
Thank you. Can we move on to agenda item number 20, which is just positive relationships policy 2025. Michael.
So through you, Convener, we've had long-standing in Inverclyde had a positive relationships policy. It's been on our policy review agenda for a period of time. It's later in coming and giving intended was that we were waiting on Scottish Government guidance coming to us in respect of this, and at one point for the reference there, finally having received that, the Behaviour Scottish School Research Report, which was published in 2023, which created the National Action Plan, has then brought to us the document referred to at 1.4, entitled Fostering a Positive, Inclusive and Safe School Environment. What we have done is reviewed the existing service positive relationships policy against that revised guidance, and actually in many ways found a lot of synergy and commonality within the policy document. I think it's going to provide the last appendix. There is a table that indicates the key differences, the key changes that we've had to make as part of that review. And so what we're now expecting is that all the staff within it, including again is in the service improvement plan, will now, in light of that, review their own school positive relationship policies, so we get that alignment between establishment policy and the education service policy through to the national guidance that has been published in 2024. And Lawrence has been a key architect in looking at this policy over time, knows it well, and has done the key work. And thanks to him, at pace, I have to say, we've brought that updated guidance to try and get it out as quickly as we can to schools to make sure that they can now fulfil that element of their recruitment plans. So committee at 2.1 is asked to approve the Education Services revised positive relationships policy.
Thank you, Michael. Do we have any questions? Can't see any online and nothing in the room. Can we agree the policy? Thank you. And can I thank everybody very much for their attendance today? It's always much appreciated. And thanks very much for their input as well. Stars of the day, but definitely young people from St Columbus and Clydeview.